Welcome to the Infield Chatter Podcast. My name is Tyler Ross. I'm with, as always, Eric Henderson. What up, Eric?
What up? What up, Tyler? What up, baseball world?
Baseball world is buzzing right now. Personally, went to a minor league baseball game, saw the Akron Rubber Ducks beat the Portland Express.
The
Big
Rubber
game.
Duckies.
They were ducking away, all right.
The local favorite.
It did help for me in a more personal note. On Sunday, it was $2 hot dog day, so we ripped 3 hot dogs in one sitting. It was a good time.
That's a good day. Good day in the sun. 3 hot dogs, a couple glizzies. How many beers did you drink?
Off the drinking right now, so I drank 0.
Okay. Had to make up for it in hot dogs. I know that game.
I mean, it wasn't free. It wasn't cheap alcohol. It was free hot dogs. So we had to take advantage of what we had. They do have this thing at Canal Park where the Rubber Ducks play, where you can get a full-size baseball helmet with 21 scoops of ice cream in it.
Whoa.
And one of the comics I went to the
Who's
game
that
with.
for?
One of the comics I was at the game with was like tried to get people to like team up to take on this thing, and I gotta say,
you need a whole bench for that.
Yeah, on a Sunday in the heat, I got to tell you, a big old thing of ice cream just doesn't sit with me as well as maybe when I was like 14 or 13 years old.
Did you say it was a full-size helmet?
Regular player's
size helmet.
Yeah.
21 scoops.
21.
Well, that answers that trivia question. How many scoops can you fit in a Major League Baseball helmet?
I mean, you know, unless it's one of our bigger boys' heads, but I think your standard player's helmet, 21 scoops.
21 scoops of ice cream. That's I would have taken the under on that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we got to see what size of scoop. Are we talking like Jenny's ice cream scoops, Cold Stone scoops, Dunkin' scoops? So
yeah, I didn't think of the difference of scoop, the circumference here.
Everybody, you know, do we have an official scoop measurement?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Has the UK spoken? Told us what the official size of an ice cream cone is?
Yes, over here across the pond we call it a skaloop.
A skloop, yeah, because they keep the time. They're the holders of the atomic clock, I think, or some shit like that.
I think it was the size of the king's hand at the time when he would scoop ice cream out, and then they measured it by that.
This seems very, very royal. The ice cream.
We figured it out.
Ice cream was probably invented just to slight poor people. They were like, "Oh, you're hot. Look at us. We have Rocky Road ice cream."
that was the first flavor they came up with too, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, anyway, back to baseball. A lot of people, a lot of games happening. We got to get right to the first most important one. Before we started this podcast, I had made a segment I wanted to talk about called Bartolo Colon Watch. And oh boy, it is finally time to debut that segment. Bartolo Colon out in the world again in Major League Baseball.
He's getting closer to his obvious return to the mound. It's going to happen.
I like that. You know, I want us to utilize that first pitch as like your chance to may or may not.
Yeah. That was more of a scouting day for him than a ceremonial first pitch. It was, look who's still got the stuff.
He did it so blasé. I wish they would have had the old gun out there for us to get an idea of what he was slinging it at for that first pitch.
Oh, I didn't see it, but I didn't see the radar. But I'm gonna go 103 miles an hour on that fastball from Bartolo.
Hasn't lost a beat, this guy.
Yeah, I thought it was great that it was the anniversary of his home run. That was pretty fun. It was the 7-year anniversary of his only home run, which is still one of it's. I was talking to it. Me and my friends talk about that home run every year when it comes up, and the more I think about it, the more it could be one of the, if not greatest moments in modern baseball, was the Bartolo Colon home run.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time thinking at the minor league baseball game about how I've turned heel and I've decided I want pitchers to have to bat again.
Yeah, because that'll never happen again. That type of thing will never happen again. It's like the most wholesome. Everybody can agree that it ruled home run. Even the team that he hit it against, I don't even know who it was. They probably agree that it was badass as shit.
Because he barely swung through it. If I remember correctly, he kind of like check swinged and just kind of popped it forward. And because he's just such a beefy butterball man, it just his momentum just waves it forward. I loved it. Yeah, it was
Oh
amazing.
yeah, no, because the commentary is on that great too. Because that was also his first hit of the season. Because the commentary he's like
Oh,
Bartolo Colon
right.
looking for his first hit of the year, and then he hits it, and then the call is one of the most beautiful calls you'll ever hear.
Hmm.
And then they empty the dugout in true MLB fashion when you hit your first home run. I think it's the most wholesome moment in baseball. I would like to see. I would take submissions for something that was more wholesome and well liked than the Bartolo Colon home run.
And
Send
to
them
like,
to me. Send me your ideas.
and I also want someone to send me ideas of what's better than after someone hits their first home run, everyone pretending like it didn't happen. That is like one of my favorite, like
Oh yeah,
in the dugout team kind of like bonding things. Like they hit their first dinger, everyone ignores them, gives them the time
the
to
silent
make,
treatment.
and then goes for it and like gives them their dap. Like I
Yeah,
love that. That is one of my favorite like in the dugout baseball things that really doesn't
yeah.
happen in other sports. I mean, I guess in hockey, if it's your first game, they'll have you go first for warm-ups and then no one will go out for like a whole minute, so you're just skating around by yourself.
Oh, that's a
But
pretty fun. But
yeah,
yeah,
I'm so good for
yeah. No,
Bartolo.
empty the dugout. You get to celebrate all by your lonesome. But
Speaking of homers, so a little check in. Aaron Judge, 45 home runs in the season. Not looking great. He had just came back on Tuesday to play his first game back after a hip injury.
yep,
Um,
his hips are sore from counting all that money.
bending over to pick up his large bag of
Those bags
cash.
get heavy when you get paid in all coin.
Yeah, so I'm feeling pretty good about taking the under earlier this season. We'll see what happens with him. You had sent me this, and I thought it was super impressive. Yoshida from the Red Sox, 90 pitches seen, 0 swing and misses.
Yeah, he's the new Tony Gwynn, they say. This guy.
I mean, that's like when I saw that stat, it made me. I had to like read it a few times. I'm like, wait, how does that really work?
Yeah,
And it's super impressive.
he either fouled it off or he didn't, or he got a hit or he didn't swing.
Yeah, that's insane. Another speaking, continuing the track of things sent to me by you on Instagram. Cup snakes are back. I know we talked about the beer bats maybe making it so cup snakes wouldn't come back. Oh, they're back, baby. I'm
Oh, I
pumped.
didn't think they were ever gonna go away.
I
That's
thought that
a
was their trick a little bit. I don't know. I genuinely thought it was over.
oh no,
So I'm
you
glad.
give the people enough time on their hands. They gonna make that cup steak, especially in the bleachers at Wrigley
True.
Field. I think that might be where it started. Who knows?
I can't. It's got to be or like a minor league team or something. But either way,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I haven't done my first bleacher game for like with the Cubs yet, but it's coming soon after I get off this goddamn tour. Other players, things. Speaking of former Cubs players, Wilson Contreras.
Yeah,
He
Wilson
is not
Contreras.
Molina. Did you
He
know
is.
that?
He's been having a bad week.
Yeah, I was listening to a bunch of talk about like him and where he's at right now on a lot of different shows this weekend. I didn't know a few other teams like reached out to him and they kind of passed on him eventually because of what a bad catcher he actually is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he was talking with the Astros for a while and eventually like the head coach stepped in and was like, "Nah, I think we should stick with the guy we have. We don't need this." And I they're talking about putting him in the outfield. They're talking about DHing him like you talk a big game like, hey, I want to be this like new fill-in guy for you, like one of your most famed players for your team, and then now all of a sudden we're in only into May, and they're like, I don't know, maybe we'll put you in the outfield.
Well, I don't know, man, because the argument that he's not a good catcher doesn't really hold because he got the Cubs to the postseason like 5 years in a row. Also won the World Series with them, and so that argument is kind of like I don't really see it because he clicks with pitchers, and that's like well known. Like I think he might have been, you'd have to double check, but he might have been involved with Jake Arrieta the year that he won the Cy Young. So you can't really say that he's bad at play calling. The argument there is that Yadier Molina is a once in a generation player, and he's been the only catcher the Cardinals has had for the last 20 years. He's definitely the reason behind their success. And you cannot just replace somebody like that with anybody and expect them to be able to have the same success with the battery as that person has with that organization for so long. And so I'm waiting to see what the next catcher is going to do, because you can't blame every single pitcher's bad ERA on Wilson Contreras in this circumstance. Like, it'd be fine if it was one
Yeah.
guy not clicking with him, but the entire starting pitching for the Cardinals has been abysmal so far this season, and I don't think you can pin that on just one catcher
No,
particularly.
absolutely not. I mean their record right now 13-24, you know. That's not
Right.
just catching is the issue for sure.
Right. They're giving up runs in the first inning more often than not. And so their whole pitching staff has gone limp. And you can't blame Wilson for that. I do like that they moved him to DH to kind of restore his confidence in his hitting and remind people that in himself specifically that he's
Yeah.
not just a catcher. But to say that Wilson Contreras is not a good catcher is bullshit to me. I'm gonna say it. Like, he was in the talk of best catchers in the league a couple years ago. Like,
Yeah, I feel you. I guess this could be me projecting because the Guardians' new catcher Mike Zunino has led the most passed balls this season. So
ooh, that's bad.
maybe I'm projecting a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
that's just me.
I can see trying to blame Wilson. I can see the entire city of St. Louis trying to blame an ex-Cub for their abysmal problems they're having. So,
I think you're probably right with that.
yeah, they're like, "Oh, this guy, we already don't like him." It's a very easy stretch, very easy connection to already hate Wilson Contreras. But
Send them back to Clark and Addison.
yeah, he did have his return to Wrigley Field the other day, and then he was greeted with cheers and boos, which he leaned into. So he had kind of emotional, kind of a weird week. I read an article that was odd that, like, the team had a meeting with him to try to help him build his confidence, and so a lot of just oddball stuff going on. He's become like a talking point this week. Like, even the Cubs post game guys were talking about Wilson and his struggles, and so kind of seems like more drama than is needed, if you ask me personally, because one person can't be responsible for their whole organization falling apart.
That's fair.
So,
Well, we shall see what happens as the rest of May falls out.
right. My friend
Yeah.
who's a big Cards fan said that Nolan Arenado adjusted his swing for some odd reason, and that's not going well. And so that usually happens. Somebody adjusts their swing. They have an off season, and there's a
Well,
lot of problems in St. Louis.
Well, and with that being said, they did just put 2 games down on the Cubs and have one more in the series, so they might just sweep
Oh,
them after all is said and done. So who knows?
series with St. Louis.
Oh no, you cut out a little bit.
Oh yeah, you froze too.
It's okay. I'll figure
We'll
that
see
out
what
in the
happens.
edit. So, but yes, the Cubs dropping 2 to the Cardinals. One more. We'll see what happens. Switching over to the
Yeah,
other side, the Oakland A's. What's going on here? Like they have
they're
single
they're
digit wins still. They have single 1,000-digit attendance right now. I mean, how do you make a team so bad? I'm just kind
yeah.
of trying to figure that out.
Yeah, they're also at the a buzzworthy week, because there's a video of their seats falling apart, which happens. That
Yeah,
happens.
whatever.
But how does it happen when nobody's sitting in them?
The
That's my
elements up
question.
there are tough,
Oh
global
yeah, the beautiful
warming,
Oakland,
acid
California.
rain, the fires, the smoke, Smokey the Bear,
I've
all
even
these
heard
things.
I've even heard rumors that their deal might not go through in Las Vegas.
How
And
come?
so I have not, but it's not been confirmed yet. But I've heard that it also may not happen. And so if that team doesn't get sold to Las Vegas, next year is going to be, they might as well just lock the doors and have the players
How do you
just,
tank a tank? Like
yeah,
how do you get
this
worse than
seems
being worse?
this seems very much like it's the last season of Oakland baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So,
If you're an A's fan, just keep putting Moneyball on your TV on repeat, and that's
yeah,
the dopamine you can
they
receive.
have
Basically.
they have Tony Kemp and nothing else out there.
Yeah, I was trying to look up who on the roster, like what was going on, and was like, yeah, I don't really know any of these guys, and I'm gonna keep it that way, unfortunately.
Yeah. Nope. I think still got that one of the coolest logos, coolest logos in Tony Kemp. I watched a highlight reel about Tony Kemp the other day. The man is phenomenal. Give him a cape.
All right. Bryce Harper, he's back.
Bryce Harper's
playing
back.
ball.
He's back sooner than we thought he would.
Mm-hmm.
And he's rocking that robot arm, that Gronk style. Is he still wearing that? I just saw the first game he came back.
I do think he was. I'm trying to remember when the last game was I watched him, if it was yesterday or the day before.
But yeah, very impressive. That guy's just weird and getting weirder, I'd say.
Yeah,
he could keep taking time off. They don't. It's not like they're doing great.
Yeah, how are the Phillies looking right now? They're
17-19, below 500. Not doing well. Just Kyle Schwarber just had to break a 0 for 21 hitless streak, something like that. It was not well, not good in Philadelphia.
Dang.
They did have some excitement at the game the other night. They had dollar hot dogs, and there was a video going around. I think this was last night, maybe yesterday. That the people in the crowd were throwing hot dogs at each other around. Oh, it was pandemonium with the dollar hot dogs. So
food fight night probably was a bad decision, but
right.
These marketers got to try something.
I peeped the comment section, and it sounded like what happened was the guy in the crowd was trying to see how many hot dogs he could eat, and they ran out at the concession stand, and so people started volunteering their extra hot dogs.
Nice.
Via the sky and throwing them at him to see how many he could eat, and that just turned into sheer classic Philadelphia pandemonium right there.
They're like, "Why are we throwing things?" They're like, "Shut up and throw things."
We don't know.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, now I'm going to bring us to our most baseball-y baseball stat, because I love a good random stat that is super specific. Shohei Ohtani passes Babe Ruth to set the record for most pitching strikeouts by a player with 100 home runs. This happened in the second inning against Jeremy Pena. What a baseball-y stat. It's like that's not really going to apply to like almost anyone currently playing right now, since no one else is batting and pitching. So it feels like a pretty safe record he can put up all on the mantle and not worry about for a while.
I think it's great. I've thought a lot about Shohei Ohtani lately, and I think he's opened the door for players like him. I think it's only a matter of time. I've already heard of players in AAA that are pitching and hitting, or at least in college. I think this is going to inspire the youth, and then I'd say 5 years, we're going to see a handful of teams that have two-way players. I think it's the rebirth of the two-way player, Shohei Ohtani. I think he's proving it can be done, and I think it's just a matter of time before we see more evidence of it. But it's still very cool. I mean, comparing anything to Babe Ruth, it's been 100 and whatever years.
Yeah.
As a pitcher has been able to hit outside of Bartolo Colon,
It always comes back to Bartolo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see it happen more. I just think as more, and this is because I only have this because my dad has a kid in baseball right now. They're like so worried about getting players like injured from like the younger ages that I think they do so many things to make sure like they only have so many movements and like amount of games, whether it's pitching, batting, or whatever like that. So that's my thing is like, are we playing too soft with these boys coming up to be able to play two ways? That's my thought.
Yeah, I don't know anything that's going on in Little League or anything like that.
Oh yeah, you're not following the Little League around.
I don't really follow Little League baseball, Tyler.
You don't know how the Denver Green team is doing this year in 11U?
I don't even know where the ballpark is. But I think that it's I would encourage my kid to try to, if you got talent, why not? Why would you put a lid on talent? That's what I say.
Hey, see if you can do both. I don't think I'd love to see it. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Let's see more players do it.
Yeah, because that's what you're seeing. I was thinking a thing that's like there was a post game talk about it. That's what you're seeing with baseball now. Is a couple of seasons ago they decided to let the kids play. That's why you're seeing more goofy shit going on in Major League Baseball, like the home run celebrations and shit like that. Like there was a player talking about how he made his debut in 2016, and you had to wear a collared shirt to the ballpark. It was no silly nonsense. It was all professional. And then somewhere down the line, that kind of got broken with allowing players to dress up goofy outfits pregame and be themselves in the dugout. And now it's a much more entertaining game, honestly. I like the little home run celebrations and the goofy fucking outfits that people are wearing.
I like them too, except for the White Sox one is like a fake gangster costume that it seems like they got from Party City and slapped a White Sox logo on.
Well, the budget's kind of strict down there. It's always been that way.
Yeah.
Jerry Ryan's door.
It was just like I saw it and I was like, this can't be the real one that they do, right? And it looks like it looks like a child's birthday party item.
I haven't seen what they're doing, but they had to give a lot of money to Liam Hendricks to beat cancer this season, so they got a little tighten up their budget somewhere. So
Okay.
I think they're going to be a late surge in the season. If Liam Hendricks comes back this year, it's going to be pandemonium on the South Side.
Well, is Tim Anderson playing? Is he still out too? That's like another one because they're, I don't know. The White Sox are just kind of all over the place for me right now. I just don't know if they're actually.
Oh yeah, they're real
team
bad.
or,
But if Hendricks comes back, it's going to be the storybook season right there, and so that'll light a fire.
Is batting right now. He's playing. He's back. We'll see.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the like leader of the squad and putting up big numbers, and I just don't think he's got it still. Back from injury.
Oh, come on now. No, they got the yips, but they'll figure it out. They'll get that fire. They'll get that. That'll just be the baseball gods will be there on their side when Hendricks shows back up. I would fly out to Chicago to see the first game. The first home game where he returns is going to be fucking crazy. It'll be a second fire when he comes back. It's going to be nuts on the South Side.
Well,
so
I will. I'll keep your seat warm at the ballpark for that day. I'll
keep a spot for me in the bleachers.
We'll
do. No, it just kind of like proves a point. Like, the current trend is that most teams are doing bad, and I think it's the new schedule. I think it's the adjustment of the teams having to play every single team. You can't just beat up on your shitty division anymore and stack up wins and seem like you're successful when you're just playing the Brewers over and over and over again. And so,
go ahead. Sorry.
So I kind of think that's kind of my biggest thing that I've seen lately is I think that the schedule has shown that some of these teams are weaker than they usually appear because, like I said, in the past, they've been playing. Usually they play 3-4 times in the division. And so if you got a good team, like the Reds are usually shitty. And so the Cardinals have been able to stack up wins against the Reds and the Pirates and the Cubs and the Brewers. And then they look like they're phenomenal. But the Cardinals have had to play real teams like the Yankees and everybody else. And so they've been getting the shit kicked out of them. And you're seeing that trend with every other team. Which I think is creating a very much more. Now you're seeing which teams are really good as opposed to which teams are just kind of like good for their region, if that makes sense.
And just like any other sport, like you start to figure out the teams that you play against the most. You start to figure them out and you get like a good rhythm against these temes. Like you said,
right. You like know
Cleveland used
to
be able to just roll through Detroit every single time they come through. Cause it's like, we know these pitchers, we know like what's going on. Let's just keep it moving. And when you have to like open it up a lot more, you're starting to see it right now. Yeah. I mean, God bless everyone who gets to, again, go back and play the A's for a few days and they can,
there's some teams where you have
stats up
guaranteed wins against. And so, but oddly enough, the Cubs have been playing the Marlins too much this season. If you ask me, it's been like they've had like 3 series against the Fish and they've lost all of them, I think. And so if we could not play the Marlins again, that would be fun. But
it's that Florida flu that they get whenever they go down there.
They're brewing something up there down there in Miami. They have a steep hill to climb to catch Atlanta, but they're up to something.
Mm-hmm.
They got a guy. Who is it? It's Luis Alvarez. He's batting .408 down in Miami. That's his season batting average. He's only got 1 home run and 13 RBIs, so he's not really producing shit. But .408 is good in any category.
Yeah, I think oh man, I just had the stat, but I think there is somebody Miami, yeah. He's leading all of Major League Baseball in
batting average.
In batting average. Did you say that or was I
didn't say that, but
is.
It would be hard to find somebody batting better than .408.
Yeah, I mean, he's second in hits in the league right now. I mean, yeah, he's killing it. Yeah, it's and that's Miami's another one of those teams you don't really think about, but maybe it's because like they changed their team city, so I'm like, oh, who are they?
Right, they changed so much no one cares, and then they do have a lot of solid international players, so
true.
That is always a thing.
I mean, and to talk about the divisions, I mean, right now the AL Central is looking sad and really bad. Almost all the teams, I think, only the Twins are the only team with like win heavy schedule. They're 19-17. Everyone else is below 500, and
that's how the NL Central is.
Yeah, scrolling through. I mean, and that is why, like, come playoff time, like the AL East is going to be just like, yeah, sure, the Orioles, the Rays, the Blue Jays, the Yankees are last in their division somehow, but eventually they'll probably figure a little something out. But that is like a tough division where they're just we'll just book one of them to go to the final dance right now. We might as well.
Right. No, it kind of seems like I didn't think about this till just now, but it kind of seems like if they continue this trend where they have all of the teams play all of the teams, you're gonna have to restructure the playoffs because you're gonna have to take the best 8 teams record wise and not the best division because I don't think anybody in the NL Central deserves to go to the playoffs right now. And somebody's got to.
Yeah, it's gonna be a weird way to end the season if that keeps going like that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So anyway, kind of rounding third with this podcast, as it were. Any games you're excited about? Any series you're looking forward to? You said somebody who always gets a run in the first inning. Who did you say that was earlier in the podcast? Do you remember? Was it
I
the
said
Cardinals?
earlier that the Cardinals are giving up runs in the first inning.
Yeah,
more often than not.
That's been one of my favorite new bets to do because it's very easy to keep track of. But yes or no, will there be a run in the first inning? So
yeah,
I'm gonna go with your little tidbit over with the Cardinals. If I see them, we're just gonna put yes for a run in the first inning because
keep an eye on St. Louis because they've been sucking when they open the show.
Some of the other ones I really like are anytime the Blue Jays have been great about first runs in the first inning. That's another really good team I am a fan of putting some money down. So if you're looking at their games, I would do it if I were you. Same with Cleveland. Anytime Zach Plesac, who just got optioned to AAA, sent down to AAA, but him, Cal Quantrill, like we have a lot of young pitchers right now. You can go ahead and put Cleveland on the list of you can go over yes run first inning. So
yeah, and then right now, if it was this week today, I would be any team that the Dodgers are playing against because Mookie Betts has been pretty hot at a leadoff spot this week.
Okay, I dig that. Yeah, I'm gonna put some cash down on that. Cool. Well, another killer episode, another great. Glad to get to catch up with you about some baseball and all that.
Yep, I'm going to the Rockies game on Saturday, Friday or Saturday. I forget. I don't know who they're playing. But I'm going and I'm gonna have a couple hot dogs. You know me. I think I'm sitting in right field, so hopefully Chris Bryant plays so we can continue our growing friendship and someday I'll get closer to getting my win flag signed by the guy.
That would be I think if you show up early to a game and you like brought
yeah. I'm gonna make a habit out of sitting in right field and just talking him up real well and trying to befriend him and then just one day just pull my win flag out of my backpack and be like, hey, you want to sign this real quick? Come on, keep a secret.
You should make shirts like Bryant Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Get a little gang together.
Oh, yeah, I should. If we could have a fun nickname like Brizzo or something.
Ooh, now we're on to something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. If you're watching, thanks for watching. And until next time, guys, have fun out there at the park.
Yeah. Let's go team,
Let's go team. All right. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.